Today, with CIC deregistration still pending, the company may avoid mandatory listing. In fact, we do have Vishwanath joining in with all of those important details. Over to you.
Right, so 30th of September, that's actually essentially the end of September when the deadline for the mandatory listing by the Reserve Bank of India will end. Essentially, Tata Sons back in September of 2022 was classified as an upper layer NBFC as part of the RBI's list of upper layer NBFCs. And at that point in time, the Reserve Bank of India had said that these companies will have 3 years, if they're not already listed, to go out and list into the market. Now, obviously, so far, there's been no talk about an IPO from Tata Sons, so that portion of the discussion is null and void. There is likely going to be no listing of Tata Sons. What we understand at this point in time is that it is still registered as a core investment company. Tata Sons has, of course, requested the RBI to surrender its certificate of registration. If the request to surrender this certificate is accepted by the Reserve Bank of India, then Tata Sons could avoid a mandatory listing. But of course, that is still under consideration. Tata Sons continues to be a privately held company as of now. Tata Trust, which is one of the key investors of Tata Sons, has also talked about maintaining this company as an unlisted, privately held company. So far, Tata Sons has repaid 20,000 crore worth of debt, so it has de-linked itself from any external debt or any considerations of network effects that it may have on the broader ecosystem in case there is some kind of default. This is primarily why the RBI is pushing for a mandatory listing of these companies. But as things stand, Tata Sons remains a privately held company, no listing in sight. Of course, discussions still going on to avoid that mandatory listing.
All right, and discussions still underway. Thank you so much for joining us with that update as far as Tata Sons then is concerned. But let's also move on to the primary market space, shift our focus to the IPO space, where you do have 4 IPOs that are set to list on the bourses. So 4 listings that we're looking at. Anushi, tell us about all of these.
Well, it's a busy day in the primary markets is what we are seeing in terms of the new listings in focus. I'll start off with Anand Rathi first. Now, if you look at this one, it had received an overall subscription of over 22 times. Now, here the company came out with a total fresh issue of 745 crore. This is the price band of 393 to 414 that we are looking at. And funds, this total issue size that we see will be required for the working capital for the business along with general corporate purposes. Now, in terms of the key strengths, it has diversified revenue streams in terms of how the business has panned out. However, of course, with the markets being the primary focus in terms of their revenue, any terms of volatility is a risk that we should be watching out for. Coming to the next one, it focuses Sahi Tech. Now, this came out with a price band of 402 to 423 with the issue size of 813 crore that we are looking at. This includes a fresh issue of 480, while the rest is an offer for sale that we are seeing. Now, this also had received a strong subscription, over 69 times is what we are seeing. The funds to be utilized towards capital expenditure and repayment of borrowings. Now here, the company is in a leadership position in terms of where the payment solution industry is considered. They have long standing relationships as well. However, BFSI is the biggest contributor for the business, contributing about 84% of the total revenue. In fact, if you look at the top 10 customers also, they account for 66% of the overall revenue. The third one in focus is Jaru Institute of Technology, price band of 846 to 890. If you look at the IPO size, that's 450 crore. This includes a fresh issue of 170 crore, while the rest is offer for sale. Now, they'll be utilizing the funds towards marketing, clearing debt, along with